Hello, everyone. It is so nice to see you. It's so nice to be seen. I'm here on a very special Creative Nomad show. I'm here with Pastor Carlos. Now, Pastor Carlos is the head of the Temple Jedi Order, and at 45 years old, he's had a lot of life he's lived. Um, really, he's all about the family and farm and meditating and being really present with where we are now. And after spending a couple weeks with them, I can promise you that is Pastor Carlos. Pastor Carlos, thank you so much for being here today.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
It's funny, I realized that I'm not set up for live um, in person interviews. And so one of the issues we've had with this is trying to get the technical setups. So we're going to pass this mic back and forth. Let me know how the audio is. Tell me in the comments. And guys, Pastor Carlos has been the pastor here, the pastor at the Temple of the Jedi Order for last few years. And what is it like to be the head of like a full religion?
I didn't know what I was getting into when I got into it. I'll tell you that much. The organization is wonderful. I get to be the head, the pastor of a group of people that come together and that meet, and they share some interesting, very heavy ideas. And one of them is that we are connected. Every living thing is connected to each other, and in the basis, in the basic of that, it's we find a lot of people actually understand that one way or another, all living things are connected. There is something there. So what we do as Jedi is we try to understand this. And there's a large group of people out there who actually do understand this and who use it on a daily basis. And it's just neat to be not really it's not the same as the other religions. I'm not really an actual spokesperson, leader, forefront face to the whole thing. That's not the purpose. Is that we're not individualists. We try to understand the force and what actually connects us, and we take the time for understanding. And in this is where I find myself in the mix of all these ideas and all these people and all these different lifestyles and there's these different cultures and this different mix of people that have come together and who have said that they all actually understand this and they want to understand it more. And that's what it's like sometimes trying to be the pastor of Jedi, is that you have a bunch of group of people who all are coming together, and it's just finding all the reasons why we come together and trying to give them space and time for understanding. It's neat. It's more than neat. It's changed me. It's changed who I am. It's changed a lot of my understanding. It's changed my focuses. It's done a number to me. So for that, I'm grateful for it. But that's what it's like trying to be a pastor, is trying to ride that whole wave, and then at the same time trying to be present with your family and your peoples and everything else. So it's a blessing. It is a blessing.
I can tell you that being here on the farm, I've been blessed. I've been here about 2 weeks now, about 2 weeks, and you can see it in action here on the farm. You can tell it in the way that he interacts with his family, how the family interacts with each other, um, and how I was joking when I first got here. The first 2 days I got here, I was like, I was forced to ground. Like, just take all of that negative energy and just let it go because it's not allowed here. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and it's been amazing being here. Um, I'm glad to be able to be here. Pastor Carlos, your life wasn't always as pastor.
No, oh. I live in the present moment. I love the present moment and everything about it. It's not the past, it's certainly not the future. But I grew up on the bad side of the town, so to speak. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and I never went to school. I threw rocks at classes. I caused trouble. I got into fights, and I did my fair share of the youthful thing. And it, I spent my entire life not understanding too much. It wasn't until someone actually explained to me that there is a little bit more to understand. It changed the way that I thought, and it changed the way that I started to understand things. But I'm not from this this way of thinking or this way. I grew up on the streets. I grew up as a thug. I grew up as the guy who hit you in the face for $1 if somebody paid him. So I hope you have $2 in your pocket, kind of deal. But I wasn't always a bastard, and I wasn't always kind. I wasn't always nice, but these are things that we can learn as we grow older. These are, we don't become the archetypes, but we use them as guides to help us through life to try to understand what we're doing. And that's kind of the purpose of everything that we do, especially on the spiritual sense, is that we as Jedi and clergy at the temple try to understand a lot of what we've been grown up with. I know that's not the right word, but how we were taught and the things that we were taught, and try to understand them, because most of the time, when I did my reflections, a lot of the things that I grew up with, they weren't mine. This changed my way of thinking and actually my way of acting when I came to that understanding. So it's hanging out more with those people than with the old type, you know what I mean? But I have not been pastor like, so to speak. But then Jedi aren't perfect. No one's
Mhm.
perfect. So I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect person or a perfect Jedi. So don't even go looking for them, because we all got faults. We all got problems, and our feet stink, and our nose runs. So
Yeah, it's I think it's through those experiences. So what I've been finding more and more as talk to people and talk to um people of faith, of all faiths, it's not about where you came from. It's about where you chose to go. And one of the problems is that we get stuck in this idea that this is who I am. And there is no who I am. It's who I am now, or who am I becoming. Do you find that to be true?
one of the hardest things it is for a human being, and I know it was for me, was to live in the present moment. The human brain, the human heart, the human will always worries about yesterday, what I did yesterday, or what I'm going to do tomorrow, or the clothes, or the vacuum, or that's always our brain is always preoccupied with the past or the future, and it's very difficult, and it takes training. It takes training. So being able to live in the present moment is a gift in and of itself, and any space, any religion, anybody who passes that along, I think is doing the entire humanity well, is to be able to dwell in the present moment, because in the present moment there's a lot of things, there's a lot of questions that you don't really need. Once you understand and once you get past certain things, there are some questions that you don't ask anymore, because you're basically in the present moment. So it's it's a constant practice of the same routine, not the same routine, but it's a constant practice of returning to the same place.
Yeah. Yeah, there is such a thing as being here. And I know you hear this all the time, and it's this whole idea of what is present moment. But the present moment right now is that there's birds chirping, and we're here on the farm, and it's a little hot outside, and it's a little muggy right now because it's gonna rain any minute now. Eh, half hour. And and it's been I've been on the farm with Carlos for a little while. I can actually predict this weather. So it's just in this space, and we forget about all the different sensations that we get. I think it's something like 2 million different pieces of data come into your brain at any moment, and we choose which ones we're going to focus on, which ones are important. And your brain needs to do that on some ways, and in other ways we have to be more present about, we can slow things down a little bit more and be able to breathe and notice that all those thoughts aren't necessarily the ones that we need to focus on. And one of the things that Pastor Carlos has done for me while I've been here is really taught me how to be more present and we went through some meditations and stuff. Guys, if you don't know Pastor Carlos, every Monday we'd have a meditation, and that's absolutely fantastic. He's
Sometimes
definitely
it's live.
sometimes it's live, sometimes it's not, but every Monday there's one, and he does some amazing work throughout the temple and throughout all of it. But what made you want to get? I mean, seeing you now, and I've been here a little while, so I kind of like. But going from the thug life, to the farm life, seems like a little bit of a stretch, right? So, how did that really start coming about?
It's neat the way that some myths and some stories they kind of they portray this idea. One of the big ideas that I've had in my life is to be the warrior in the garden. I've gone out to war. I've served I've served in the army and in the Coast Guard. Uh, I suffer from PTSD. Things are what they are. But one of the things that I always wanted was to be the warrior in the garden, and the reality of creating this has revealed that in the process of paying attention to the warrior and being the warrior in the garden and the old man in the garden and digging, it was actually just wanting to be in the presence of the garden. It was wanting to be in the present moment. It really wasn't just the garden. It was with the seeds and with the family and with these were the things that I actually wanted. So by taking time to understand them a little bit more, certain ideas change, certain ideas they they're cultivated into different things, they grow into different things. And I never had the focus as a youngster, as a troublemaker for the future. It was always present moment, it was always now, it was always for tonight, it was always for what I could save up for just now. And it's a different focus. So I think that when each of us realizes that our warrior eventually turns into the person who's present. It's a great revelation. It's a great reflection because it takes a lot of things out of the way that we used to stumble on and we used to worry about. And kind of the whole idea about what we do is to rid ourselves a lot of the things that do cause worry. So being able to be in the present moment with things like that, it's helped. So there wasn't really a big goal of becoming this. I'm still growing. I'm still becoming so much more than I thought was possible, and it's a blessing because when you put yourself in the present moment, you also put your way in all of the good and the bad. So it's not that I wanted to become this great thing or this something or this whatever. It was the fact that when you dwell in the present moment, things become different. That's a big change in your life and in your dynamic, in your way of thinking and in your way of acting and in your way that you interact with your own circles of people and your own beliefs and your own religion. It changes the way you act about yourself. It gives you different types of courage and it rids. So it wasn't the fact that I wanted to become a farmer one day. It is eventually that I found myself on a path that encouraged thought process to continue to understand and to continue to learn, continue to ask questions, and continue to move past authority. And that it's a big thing when you understand that you need authority to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge because we do need that structure. I think that structure is important, and too much structure could be no whole other thing. Don't get me wrong. There is a balance, but having a structure is so important. And it's, again, one of the things I teach a lot is how to find your freedom system, whatever that looks like. And it's funny because Pastor Carlos, wouldn't necessarily, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe 12. I'm trying to think of
All right.
about 12, wouldn't actually have thought this is where I was going, but that system naturally led him here. And it's so beautiful. Pastor Carlos, if there is someone at home that is just in that lifestyle that you were in, and is looking at what and feeling stuck in that lifestyle, what is it that you would say to them?
Well, we just spoke the other day about this very topic, and I have a message entitled "I used to be a spice runner," and it's neat if you get a chance, find it. It's neat. It's a good little sermon. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's good encouragement to everybody out there. But the the point is that I was stuck. Okay, so the thing is that I broke from the hood. Okay, that's my thing. And in reality, we can talk metaphors all day long, but in reality, this is part of. I'm grateful to be able to share this time with you and to be able to do this. But in reality, if you live in the hood, if you live in the mess, if you live in the dumpster fires, in the dumpsters where the fires happen, you understand you have to remove yourself. It's not very difficult because if you stay where you're at, that's where you will be. It's not rocket science, you understand? If you live in the hood and you don't want to be in the hood anymore, you have to leave the hood. It's just flat out the way it happens. And that's it's not a really big understanding, but it has to happen. Something inside you has to realize that wherever you're at in any part of your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's metaphorically you live in some type of place where it just keeps you in barriers and it's not healthy for you and everything about it is just trapping, you're not stuck. You've never been stuck. One, you're not alone because you got people and friends, and if you don't, it doesn't take very long to get friends overnight. You understand? We got internet. We can talk to China. We can talk to Japan. We can talk to Africa. We can talk to Australia. We can make friends anywhere. We can create a group overnight like that. And I've seen it done. Seen it done. Leagues, groups, uh, baseball card circles. We can do it. People do it all the time. So you're not stuck. No one's stuck, really. It's just that it's scary. The scariest part about change is making the change. And for those who think that they're stuck on the street, for those people who think that they're stuck in relationships, that they're just so harmful and just so hurtful that you have to be there. No, you do not. You are free. You are a human being. You do not have to be treated that way. You probably didn't start some of that mess that you're in. Think about that for a second. It makes it easier, way easier to let it go because you didn't start it. It's not yours. Carry on. And for those who think that they're stuck, you're not stuck. No one's ever stuck. We have mentors. We have friends. We have circles of people. We have people who care. We have people who are sitting there watching us, waiting for us to ask for help. The biggest thing is learn how to ask for help. Because if I would have never asked for help, guess what? I'd have never got it.
Yeah.
I'd have got what I deserved. But somebody gave me help. And look what happens when someone gives someone else help. It changes people. You understand? So there's no small amount of mercy that we give. There's no small amount of freedoms. There's no small amount of forgiveness that goes out. It's all big. Understand? Just because we don't understand how big it is sometimes, we need to forgive. We need to move on. But most importantly, we need to realize that we're not stuck. No, we're not stuck. I know people who moved cross country, summertime, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. How come they can do it and I can't do it? So can you. So for those who think that they're stuck in some hood somewhere, brother, I grew up in the hood. Sister, I grew up in the hood. Friend, Tio, Tia, auntie, uncle, whatever you want to call yourself, cousin. Yo, get out. Just get out. Don't worry. Nature of the thing, they won't miss you. They won't even know you're gone. Go. Love you.
Yeah, I mean, it, it's just like me and the jobs. They don't. Every so often, someone asks, but they don't. They don't care about you.
And the hood
They
don't care.
no.
It'll forget your name. Don't worry.
The hood will go on.
The hood will go on. It'll be the hood tomorrow. There'll be people hurt tomorrow. There'll be all kinds of stuff. Just don't be a part of it no more. Walk away. You'll be better for it. Trust me. You'll be better for it. If you need to hear it, there it is. Move on with your life. Get out the hood if you need to get out the hood.
I agree. All right, Pastor Carlos, thank you so much for being here with me today. Think like uh, there are no words, guys. how much I love this man and how beautiful a life and how impactful he has been on my life. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And guys, check out the Temple of Jedi Order. If you haven't checked it out before, check it out. I promise you, I am not trying to convert people to Judaism, but it had some great truths in it that I believe are universal. I can prove it, but that's a whole nother conversation. You guys are all loved, and I will see you again real soon.
Thanks for listening to the Creative Nomad Show. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, go to creativenomadshow.com. There's also a link at the bottom. If you are a radical and would like to be a guest, you can apply to be on the show there. Thanks again, and know that you are loved.